Hi, welcome to Quirky Queen's Journals. My name's Kirsten. So today I am making jelly prints. So most of them are brightly coloured. They've got a couple of pools and I'm using some handmade stencils. So this one with the black marker, what I've done is I've laid paper down while the marker was still wet, which has given a really nice finish to it rather than just being a solid black line. So this is Posca pens. I do more on this first print with the markers and the Posca pens than I do on any other print. What I've done with the other prints is I've finished them off with Posca pens, but I've left that bit out of the video because at the end of the day, it's the jelly plate we all love. So this one, there's a couple of them that make me think of the kind of 80s. It's got that kind of colourful, bright vibe to it. But the one after this is my absolute favourite. I'm sure it's the one after this. So that was Payne's Grey that I just used as well. Do you know, I think that looks really good just as it was. But I put on another layer and I used the stencils that I cut out of acetate with scissors. Just big solid stencils. You know, I learned that technique from the Art Whisperer 88. So I'm sure this one I use a pale olive. Oh no, I've just used it. The brayer was still wet, so it's actually a kind of more pale Payne's Grey that it's ended up as. So we're definitely using white this time. So they are on my watercolour pads that I got from Artistic. They have perforated edges, so they're the top tabs. But because that paper is 300 GSM, you know, they're really thick and you reuse them again and again on the jelly plate. So what's happened, once I've done the jelly prints, I am using the Posca pen just to add a bit more, you know, to finish them off basically. This is my favourite one. I think that Payne's Grey and that kind of pale grey white ended up like a pair of jeans. That kind of texture and colour. So that was cadmium red deep hue, and this is burnt sienna high flow acrylic paint. And the burnt sienna is very, very subtle, but see on top of that Payne's Grey with the kind of pale grey white, those colours just worked perfectly. So that's it there, and I put some gold around the edges of some shapes, not all. This is the pale olive green now. So what I am doing now is, when I do the last layer of stencils for the previous jelly print, that becomes the first layer of the next jelly print. So you can see the red stencil shapes underneath the pale olive green. Now this is white with a couple of drops of quinacridone gold high flow acrylic paint. These are some curly stencils that I made with the acetate. Again, just cut the acetate out with scissors. Nothing too difficult. Now I had a bit of an error here. What had happened was the paint had dried too much, so I put matte medium over it. But because the stencils were still down, I've stuck the stencils to the page. So, schoolboy error there. This turquoise blue is lovely. And this bubble wrap on top is even lovelier. I loved the colours of these. I didn't even do another layer over it because, you know, it just looked so good. That's yellow Posca pen around that one. Now, there was a wee bit of a mix-up here. I ended up doing the turquoise blue one first because that was the one the stencils had stuck to, so I had to let it dry for a bit. And again, I'm just taking off some of the solid areas of that black marker pen. Obviously, I'm doing a lot of editing in this video. I mean, I've edited out drying times, and I'd edited out when I'd put that matte medium on top of the stencils in error. So this is cadmium red deep hue, and that's burnt sienna again. Thought we'll try and get that same style back. That this is Payne's Grey, and I've put a bit of pale olive green at the top, just to add a wee bit of variety. Oh, curly stencils are back. Absolutely love the gel plate. It's do you know, I feel like I've almost got into a routine with it, where my preference is definitely these acetate stencils that I make myself. And I like trying to add in something like, you know, your water-based oil pastels, or, well, I did try the chalk pastels before, but they stained my plate. So did my Sharpie pens. That's why I've got this. You can see the staining on my gel plate, but it doesn't affect it in any other way. But beware, Sharpie pens and chalk pastels will stain your jelly plate. Now this is called Opera Pink, and it's by Winsor & Newton, and it's literally like a pink highlighter. It is that vibrant. Also, what I do as well is, these are packagings that I have that I am using to just create a bit of texture on top of the full layers of paint. So some of it has been IKEA packaging that I've used in different videos, and that was a kind of void fill packaging that I'd gotten recently. Do you know, this might only be a 10-minute video, but I must have sat for about 4 hours solid doing this earlier on, and just the time just flies by. Put some green Posca pen on that one. This purple's lovely as well. It's called Windsor Violet, and I don't know whether or not it's one of Winsor & Newton's own colour mixes. This turned out lovely. I put the cadmium yellow deep hue on top of it, and I was really, really pleased with this one. Windsor Violet and cadmium yellow deep hue just seem to work together. They bring out the best in each other. I'm having a debate with myself about where to put the stencils. That's my dog dancing about in the background that you can hear. It's not somebody tap dancing. I'm just trying to think. I think we're actually nearly finished. Is this the last one? I think it could be. This is gorgeous. I put some black Posca pen around some of the shapes, and it's just beautiful. No, this is the last one. Oh, this was lovely. This was so lovely, I didn't even put the Posca pen on it in case I ruined it. Just Payne's Grey, a bit of bubble wrap, the leftover stencil marks from the cadmium yellow. And then this white with a wee bit of whatever's on that brayer. It's just made this lovely warm kind of cream colour. And should I get out the curly stencils? They're my most recent stencils, the curly ones. There we go. And this just turns out gorgeous. Beautiful. So that's it. Thanks very much for watching, and I hope to see you soon, and I hope you enjoyed. Take care.